In this video, I'll be using two wood round tabletops that measure 15 inches and they're about an inch thick. I picked these up at Lowe's for under $10. This is part of a monthly playlist that's called What Would You Make? I'll be telling you more about that later in the video. I'm going to be adding some feet to this and creating a riser. These came from Lowe's also. I believe it was something less than $3 per pair for those. And I was just showing you how those would have gone into the wood round if I could have found my drill. But life had something different planned for me. And in the end, I really like how it turned out. I don't see how it could have been any better with a drill. So here I'm just trying to find the center. And this measures 15 inches across. So I just went in with a yardstick, dotted 7.5 inches, and made a line. Flipped it over, did the same thing in the different direction there. And now I'm going to sand this edge a little bit because there was a little bit of the wood grain that was not exactly smooth. So just for good measure, I went around the entire thing while I was sanding that spot. So what I'm going to have to do is use some pliers and take those little screws out of there and apply the feet with Dollar Tree wood glue. Thank goodness they came out easily. So I was putting little bits of glue on until I got to this one. I kind of got a little too ambitious there. Too excessive, I guess I should say. And yeah, I'm just getting off some of that excess. And then what I'll do is go around, measure to make sure I have the same distance from the edge on those. Then I'm going to put something heavy on top of those while they dry. This board weighs a good 5 pounds, I'd say. And then taking the ruler, I'm going to make sure that the feet are all the same distance from each other as well. Once I was satisfied with that, I added some more things on top of there. Bag of heavy rocks works every time. And after it dried, I took out some of these wood buttons. I'm not exactly sure what the official term was for those, but I'm going to make a ring around this riser. I didn't have enough buttons to go side by side all the way around, because I found those on clearance for 97 cents a pack. And here I was trying to figure out how to get the exact distance between them, but I thought, you know, I'm just going to eyeball it. It's going to look beautiful whether I've got them all in a line or not. But I think I've, for the most part, got them pretty even. Using that wood glue again, I'm going to put a minimal amount on these buttons, as you can see there. Make sure I have them on the same part of that rim of the wood round, I guess you might call it. And there's how that turned out. I was going to paint it, but then when I got it together, all these different wood grains, I just love it the way it is, but I want your opinion. Should I paint it? Or should I stain it? Or should I just leave it natural? Let me know in the comments. This is part of the What Would You Make open playlist that's hosted every month by Zana from OK at Home DIY. and Connie from Connie's Creative Creations. Their guest host this month is Jenny from Lovely Moments Creating. All three ladies' channel links are in the descriptions below, as well as a link to the playlist. So when you're finished here, hop on over there. For this wood round, I'm painting it with white Waverly chalk paint. I'm just going to paint the entire top and all around the sides. And this was supposed to be a Lazy Susan, but yeah, can't find my drill, so can't do that for now. Thanks to Favi for suggesting that I use the wood glue so I can finish at least a little bit of the projects. After that coat has dried, I'm going to use celery and moss. First, I'm going to put a line of painter's tape right down the center of that board. Making sure it's centered. And I'm going to go right up against that tape on both sides with another strip of tape without overlapping. Just right up against it, like so. Nope, like so. There we go. Now those outside tape pieces, I'm going to roll that end underneath. Then the one in the middle will come off. This is going to be something like a grain sack pattern. Not exactly. It's just an interesting little detail. I'm going to leave a little bit of a space in between those two pieces on the side, as you can see, and then put another piece of tape on the other side. And now I'm almost ready to start painting. I'm using some of the last bits of my celery paint, chalk paint of course. I'm going to paint in those lines. And then lift up the tape. I'm so glad that I didn't pull off any white tape and I didn't have any paint bleed. So I got something like that going on right now. And then I'm going to use this large wall medallion. I picked this up at Michael's. It's just a big paisley. I'm not going to use the whole stencil. I'm just using the center of that, kind of like a medallion kind of look. So, got to center that up. Boy, I used my ruler a lot today. There was a lot of little tiny adjustments trying to get it right in the middle there. Once I was happy with the placement, I started putting down little strips of paint so I could make a circle around that innermost pattern. That's going to be the line that tells me to stop painting. Stop right here at this blue line. Someone suggested that I use a coat of Mod Podge before painting in the stencil. This is only the second time I've stenciled. The first time was a horrible failure, so I do appreciate when people give me constructive criticism and let me know how to do these things. Once I allowed the Mod Podge to dry well, I came back in with my, come on, it's coming up, moss paint. I don't have a stenciling brush per se, so I just put a little bit on my regular brush and kind of just drag the brush across, not putting any pressure on it. And I did two light coats like that. And then I'm just using my heat gun to hurry the drying process along a little bit, because I couldn't wait to see what was under there. All the time I was thinking, it's just paint. If you make a mess, you can sand it down and start all over again. Luckily, I didn't have to. It turned out beautimous. I had one little spot, one tiny little area right there that I had some paint bleed, but it'll never be noticed. Keeping in the wood theme, I'm going to use some of these wood snakes from Dollar Tree to make candles. I just cut it down, figured out how long I wanted the handles to be, how much of a curve I was putting on it, and I was trying to decide if I wanted them flat on the sides or up the top, upright, and I ended up going with that, like so. And then I just used that first snake to measure out the length of the second one. If you're keeping up, it was 7.5 on the snakes as well. I'm using celery paint again and just putting one coat all over the snake handles. I'm not trying to get inside all those little crevices. I just don't want the paint pooling up there. So that's what I'm doing, running the brush sideways. And I got out my new sanding block because there's some burrs left behind on those snakes when I cut their head and tail off. So I was just sanding those down a bit so it would make a better connection with the wood round. Yep, more measuring. I'm going to use a white pencil and measure the center, so I'll know where my middle of my snake needs to be when I glue down the handle. A little bit of glue, wood glue on one side, hot glue on the other side, like this. Got hot glue and wood glue both on there for the short-term, long-term hold. And just straighten that up. More wood glue and hot glue on the other side. And pop that in place. Now I took my old sanding block that is almost wore out, and I just lightly sanded across, not a lot of pressure on it. I just wanted to get out any of the areas of paint that were thicker than other areas. I don't know, it just wiped it down with a soft cloth. And so there's the finished tray. That's going to be a lazy Susan when I find my drill bits. Yeah, I love how it turned out. This is something I can use all year, as well as the riser. I think maybe a coat of polyurethane. That's all for today. Bye-bye for now.